How do you spend the next few weeks after the exit interviews, etc.? You're going to have a holiday?
Yeah, definitely, and a much-needed one, I would say, more so than any other time, to be honest. I look forward to that with the family, and we'll get away and have some time together and refresh, recharge, and be ready to have another go.
Ken Hinkley, lots of talk in the post-season already. Caro, where does it go from here, the Port Adelaide coaching situation?
Well, Ken Hinkley's contracted for next year. The plan is at the moment that Ken Hinkley will take a slightly longer break than normal, which is his call because he needs one. It's been a tough year for him. It should be pointed out, though, they finished third, Port Adelaide, with a list that I don't believe is anywhere near the third best in the AFL. So in many ways, he's done a brilliant job, but it ended sort of in a tough way for him, the loss at the SCG. I think he feels, there's a feeling that he might worry that what happened with the Hawks might end up being part of his legacy, which I don't think will happen, but look, he's got a year to go. There's an unofficial agreement for Josh Carr to take over from him at some point. The club is invested in that. Ken is invested in that. I just wonder if even now Ken is wondering what's going to happen next year. He knows what's going to happen next year. He knows he's not going to get a contract extension early in the year. So he knows it's going to be tough if they don't start winning. And there is a view that maybe he might even make the call. I'm not sure if he'd necessarily maybe walk away, maybe say that this is my last year and Josh is going to take over the following year, or maybe declare at the start of the year, I know what I'm facing, I'm going to tough it out. But
that's sort of been his mantra right the way through for the last 4 or 5 years.
I'm going to tough it out.
So I just
There's
wonder
a view that maybe that just can't keep happening.
Yeah, so he needs to have a really honest chat with the footy club and get his family involved if they're concerned about him as well, because the toll that it's taken on him, I don't think it's healthy, and I wonder whether the best thing for him would to be have.
You think he should call it?
Well, who am I to say? Like, because he's
well, you're a 300-gamer, four-time Mr. First. Just to say, you're the absolute right person.
Yeah, observing how unhealthy the situation has been at the football club, with the volcanic nature of the fans, with, I think he's up against it to get this team in a position with the list that they've got into a similar spot. So it's going to
continue to rebuild on the run.
It's going to be brutal for him next year. So is the best thing for him to shake hands with the footy club and say, this has been unbelievable, 12 years, you've been enormous. Give him the cheque that he clearly deserves. Give him a year off, and then there'll be 4 or 5 clubs that would love to get Ken Hinkley to their footy club, and that's the discussion they've got.
Just on that, I agree. I think no coaches walk away from their jobs, do they? It's happened once or twice over time, but if he was to take the year off, he could be coaching for another 5 years. I think if he takes one more year at Port Adelaide, that could be the last year he ever coached in his career. So that's the decision he and his management family need to make.
The Hawthorn fallout continues. Let's revisit what James Sicily had to say, and then we'll hear from Sam Mitchell at the Brownlow.
I mean, it's not the first time that Ken's done that, won't be the last, but it's an emotional game and sometimes it gets the better of us.
Ken Hinkley, good bloke.
I don't know him at all, actually. I've never met him other than the other night.
And you don't know what you don't know as well.
You don't know what you don't know.
So they're really upset, Hawthorn, behind the scenes of what they think started in round 10 when Port Adelaide came from behind to win. And they thought there was a celebration directed from Ken into the face of the Hawthorn dugout after the final siren. So we got the vision of exactly.
Have you got a conspiracy theory?
Well, this is the vision of what I think they're talking about. So you'll see Ken here after the Burn-Jones.
Which one's Ken?
Kick.
That's real Ken there?
That's real Ken there.
What do you mean real Ken?
You'll see a fake Ken because there's a lookalike there. That's a fake Ken there. So this is after the game. So that's clearly saying 1 second to the fans. This is him celebrating.
Look, there's 2 Kens.
Not in the direction of Hawthorn, but there's fake Ken. So I think
who's fake Ken?
Well, Paul Rosonico is his name. There's fake Ken.
You think that the wrong person got accused?
I think there's a case of mistaken identity. And Hawthorn.
This is an unbelievable stretch.
No, honestly,
they blame the wrong Ken, you think?
Well, you've seen the vision for yourself. You make up your own mind. They are dead ringers of each other. Paul Rosonico, fake Ken, real
I've heard
Ken.
it all.
Real
You're
Ken was
celebrating
celebrating.
around in 2014 when at the preliminary final when
blaming
Paul almost
He's
got
a
over the line.
stalwart, Paul. He's such an important person, but there's a case of mistaken identity. I think Hawthorn are upset at fake Ken, not real Ken.
Could it have been fake Ken who did the aeroplane wing?
No. Just on that though, like if we're taking you at what you're saying there, Hawthorn, if whatever, either one of them.
Very sensitive, aren't they?
Yeah, you can't. If that is true, surely they're not serious.
Hawthorn, you mean?
Yeah.
That's been reported. That's true.
No, I've spoken to Hawthorn about that. Yeah, and they go back to 2014. They said Ken was goading the bench at 2014 during at some point late in the game too.
And there's change. There's players out. Houston was made it public. We'll talk about that later. That Dixon's going. Boak's got his own decision. And then it comes to Lukosius coming in. So you like that, or you're not sure?
I like him as a player. Yes, he's got to get far better. He's an unbelievable talent. But I just look at this forward line and I go, OK, just say it's Marshall, Georgiades and Lukosius. Are those three going to be there on grand final day? And you might say, well, look at the Sydney Swans, but they don't have the class around them. So I would have liked them to see if there's a big-bodied type forward to complement, because Georgiades looks a really good player. But you've got Marshall and Lukosius around.
They're hard to get, though, aren't they, those big forwards?
Yeah, they are.
Melbourne have been trying to get one. Collingwood's trying to get one.
The reports are that Lukosius is on 1.9 in a back-ended deal, so they're going to spread it out over a long time.
Which goes to show how ridiculous Gold Coast list management has been, if that's the case. But they're just going to say, well, if a talented player wants to come home, we'll take him because he's better than what we've had in the forward line in the finals.
I think there'll be an inquest at Geelong into the 20 minutes that the game swung in the third quarter when Max Holmes went to the bench, and the delay to make this decision. And Lordo, you picked this up and read it first yesterday on the Sunday Footy Show. There was indecision on to sub him or not. They felt like they were in limbo for 20 minutes. This is when all the damage got done and the game swung, and the decision was eventually made. What's your view on this?
Yeah, well, Damo and I debated on Sunday. Damo's saying this was genuinely a decision around what he went through 2 years ago, which may be right. And I'm saying I couldn't care less what happened 2 years ago. You've got a final to win. Get him off and get Mitch Duncan into the game. They played for 15, 20 minutes, one short because of that. And he was doing run-throughs, putting his hands up. You could see he knew he was gone. Yeah. So they had to make that call quicker, and they lost all their run. And it was game over in that time.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
So what's your view on Bailey Smith watching the game with the Geelong camp? It didn't go down too well with the Western Bulldogs when this photo appeared on social media. There's Bailey Smith. There's obviously Tom Hawkins in the background. He's sitting with family members of Ash Hardwick, one of the co-owners of Cotton On. Cotton On, of course, being a major sponsor at Geelong. Bailey Smith, of course, is a Cotton On ambassador. There's no formal deal yet, we know, between Bailey Smith and Geelong, but it was unusual to me.
Yeah, it may be unusual, but his head, to me, has been with them for 12 months, to 18 months, however long. It doesn't surprise me because, it seems to me that he's known he's been leaving for a long time.
Geelong are lucky to have that Cotton On deal, aren't they? It's been good for them.
It was a really tough lead-up for the Cats, and Stephen King obviously had a very worrying incident at training on Friday. Thankfully, he's okay, and we're thrilled about that, and we're looking forward to seeing him make a full recovery. He's going to be an outstanding senior coach. But I did want to ask a question. The decision to allow him to fly to Perth, leaving aside what happened in the health, but just to be gone for a day, to fly across the country and back, were they...
I was surprised about that.
Hard-nosed enough, the Cats, to say, it's a premiership to be won here, and what do you think on this?
Well, in an ideal world, they needed to be hard-nosed with him and say, no.
It's classic Geelong, though, isn't it? Live and let live, and it sort of works for them. That
has. But in hindsight, I reckon, and you weren't to know about the health situation and what a disruption that would have been, plus you're losing the intel from the coach's box. But trying to win a premiership, that needed to wait until Geelong were out of the finals before he addressed that last.
Your thoughts on this?
I know you brought it up this morning, Hutchie, and I couldn't agree with you more. If they really want you, you understand that they would fly to you and you can even wait. It's not as if West Coast have made a decision since. He could have been on the plane spending 3 or 4 days over there, since. So I reckon, Geelong, in hindsight, have made the wrong call.